these standings are so important early in the match, or early in the tournament, even though it may not feel like it to us as viewers.
Yeah, first of all, though, we will introduce these players here at the southwest side of Jagannatha. He is the red Protoss player representing Team Clash. It's Hellraiser.
And Hellraiser's opponent in the top right-hand side in the blue, currently teamless, representing France, it is ShaDoWn. All right, Grant, I promised the people we'd talk a little bit about this format. Obviously, it's an 8-player round-robin group format, so every player is going to play 7 matches. Top 4 players in each group move on. Bottom 4 players in each group go home. But Grant, can you tell the people at home why these matches that are happening right now, today's match, is just as impactful, if not more, as matches further down the list, especially for both Hellraiser and ShaDoWn?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's about for both of these players, it's about getting into a positive score set. Both of them sitting at 1-1. The difference between being 2-1 and 1-2, not only is it one series, but it's confidence levels. We typically have seen you need to go about 4-3 with a decent map score to go through. So the closer you can get to those 4 wins, the better. Also, not just little things such as every series win is an extra $125, and that's a lot of money. We've seen top players, top Koreans, play almost daily in a best of 7 or 9 for less than this. So it's a big opportunity for these guys to fill up their pockets a little bit, as well as really build some momentum going forward.
Really good points, Grant. And obviously, we've just finished up with Serral and Solir. That was Group D today. And we're rotating back now to Group A to start with our 3rd series for all these groups. So we're doing every day, we're doing 5 matches on both the A stream and on the B stream. And generally what that means is each stream does 2 matches from each group and then 1 match from 1 additional group. So like on the first day of play, we did 2 matches from Group A, 2 matches from Group B, and 1 match from Group C. Day 2, we pick up with that next match in Group C, and then do 2 in Group D, and 2 in Group A, and continue rotating through the groups evenly. And that does a couple of things, but most importantly, it prevents any group from finishing before the others, so the players don't have an unfair amount of time to prepare for their games. But Grant, as we look at these groups, Group A, maybe not the most stacked group in the tournament, but really some very scary players. And I think the competition for those top 4 spots is going to be absolutely brutal.
Yeah, definitely. I can't see the group right now. I think the top player in this group most likely will be Raynor, but outside of Raynor... Pardon?
There are 2 players in this group at 2-0. Do you know what other Zerg player is tied with Raynor?
Another Zerg player?
Yeah.
No, I can't.
It's Denver,
well, there we go,
who has the exact same record as Raynor does.
Very
They're both
impressive.
2-0 and 4-1 in the map score. So really amazing stuff there. Yeah, Raynor and Denver up at the top of this group right now with 2-0 scores. And right now there are 4 players in the middle with 1-1 records. Geralt, Hellraiser, Mana, and ShaDoWn, all 4 of our Protoss players at 1-1. And then Ziggy, and unbelievably, Grant, the only other player with Ziggy to beat an 0-2 record is Bly, who sits not only at 0-2, but Bly in Group A has not yet won a map.
Wow. That's
He's
crazy.
0-4.
He will be playing Hearthstone on the main stream very shortly, guys, so don't worry if you want to cheer on your favorite Ukrainian cheeky Zerg player. But this game right now, let's get into it. We did see Stargate openings from both. Hellraiser does have a Phoenix here. That should stop the Oracle from getting too much damage, but just 1 Phoenix really not going to be enough. The second one popping up, of course, doubling the DPS, but that's a lot of dead workers, Crate. And 7, that's great.
Man, this is the hubris we saw from Gung Fu Bandit yesterday. Or was it, sorry, it wasn't Gung Fu Bandit. It was, I think, Christianer yesterday, where if you do the correct build order response, as Hellraiser did, right, getting the Phoenix out, sometimes that makes you more confident in what your build looks like than you really should be. And wow, ShaDoWn going to be forced to recall these Adepts, by the way. But it makes you more confident in your build order than you should be. And you're like, you know what? He's gone for Oracle first. I've gone for Phoenix first. My build wins. StarCraft is rock, paper, scissors. It's no more difficult than that. GG, game over, I win. And then you see, of course, the single Oracle comes in, and when the rubber hits the road and the actual interaction of those 2 units occurs, you can see that the Oracle is able to squeeze out 7 probe kills. So that's going to force Hellraiser, who's now lost 7 probes, to drop a Dark Shrine. Grant, I don't think that was his original plan here with this Twilight Council. I think he probably wanted to go Twilight into Robo and do a more traditional follow-up of this, but Dark Shrine, still pretty good. Going to get scouted right away from ShaDoWn, though. He knows these Archons are on the way.
ShaDoWn, even though he killed, like, what have we seen, 7 workers so far, he was, even before that, ahead in workers, just playing a very economical style. He didn't expect to do as much damage as he did, I believe. These 2 adepts, very nice control there from ShaDoWn. Of course, these players do this all day, every day, but still, not throwing away any unnecessary units, very quick reflexes as well, and things like the recall. ShaDoWn's had a great start to this game. And Hellraiser, okay, I say that and now he throws one away. And Hellraiser typically considered one of the best PvP players in Europe. So ShaDoWn, he's really impressed me so far this event. And he is now getting his robo, maybe a little late, seeing as he hasn't built any cannons or anything yet. He does have a forge, and can get that sorted. He does, of course, have, oh, he has no oracles or anything out, okay. Okay, there is the potential for the DTs. Maybe they've been a little bit under prepared for here from ShaDoWn's point, as that Dark Shrine is done and the first DT already warping in before the... Oh god, that's a mistake. Okay.
Yeah, several mistakes here from Hellraiser. Maybe he's just a little bit shook right now, Grant. Do kids still say a little bit shook?
I don't know. I'm too old.
I am too as well. The real problem right now is that there is a forge for cannons, but there's no robo for an observer, and there are no cannons on the way. So as you said, 1 DT could actually do a fair amount of damage. There are 2 here, but Hellraiser forced to use those DTs defensively. Pardon me. Oh my gosh, Hellraiser on the other side of the map right now, and ShaDoWn is actually the one getting hit with the DTs with no observer out until just now. There it is. ShaDoWn's going to be just fine. Hellraiser able to get a little bit of damage done there, but not as much as he may have liked to. The probe count roughly even though, Grant.
Yeah, that was the damage probably Hellraiser wanted. Finding 7 workers now in total was a little bit better, of course. He has evened up that worker count, but upgrades he is about half an upgrade, just shy of half an upgrade behind. The Phoenix is very good for dealing with an upgrade disadvantage, being able to take so many units out of the fray here. And it does look like we'll be moving into a pretty solid mid-game for both of these players. The third fully established here for ShaDoWn and not for Hellraiser. Maybe a bit of a problem as the economy will most likely be favouring right now. And you can see that it is the blue Protoss player from France. But, I mean, right now, no game-ending damage done either side.
Yeah, absolutely. No game-ending damage on either side is a great assessment of this PvP so far. You know, we talked about this a little bit in our ZVZ, where we were saying how long the players can just do their build orders and try and execute them as best they can before they really have to engage or tech switch or anything like that. And so far, ShaDoWn has a pretty good read on this, right? He saw Hellraiser invest into quite a few Phoenix, so all of these stalkers that do have blink and +1 are going to be a little bit more scary because Hellraiser, just by the very nature of his build, has less on the ground right now, and there are no immortals in this fight to try. Like, there's nothing really too appetizing for these Phoenix to pick up. This is going to be a very close fight here, and Hellraiser has the defender's advantage, Grant, but ShaDoWn has the army supply advantage.
Yeah, ShaDoWn's got a very, very scary force here right now. If he can find the right blink and possibly get to the batteries or the sentries early, he's already baited out 1 Guardian Shield. He will lose his sentry as well. Phoenix is flying very early, but they will be targeted down, I imagine, quite quickly. No, just going to focus the Stalker fight here. There's no battery here, but there's an Immortal in the rear doing so much damage alongside some Zealots. The blink is not a blink away. The Prism will go down. Great defense by Hellraiser.
Wow, that Immortal only has 3 kills, but Grant, I promise you, if this was a World of Warcraft raid, he would be like, guys, check my overall DPS, not my actual kills. This is insanely strong from the Immortal. Obviously, that damage it does to those armored stalkers is crazy good. The good news is, Hellraiser, while he took a bit of a licking there, he's going to keep on ticking back home. Grant, the 4th base is now down for ShaDoWn, which is less fun to say than I thought it was going to be. But the 4th base now is down for ShaDoWn, and he's got an opportunity to turn this 10 probe advantage, 70 to 60, into a real army supply advantage later in the game. Charge on the way for both players. +3 slightly ahead for ShaDoWn. I imagine Hellraiser is going to start chronoing out his upgrades as soon as he possibly can, and we're going to see 2 +3 armies bumping up against each other very soon. But Hellraiser wants that to be sooner rather than later, Grant. Why is Hellraiser moving out so quickly?
Immortals, that's purely why right now. He does have a lot of Immortals. He doesn't have Zealot charge, but it's getting pretty close to finishing. There are no Immortals here at all. It is purely a Stalker army with a couple of sentries here for ShaDoWn. And if Hellraiser can find a good fight, if he can keep his Immortals safe, maybe juggling in and out of the Prism with some good force fields, some good Guardian Shield movement and things like that, then this could end up being quite nice for Hellraiser. Oh, good catch on the Prism, though. Man, this French Pro Tour player is impressing me today.
Man, both of these guys being just bloodthirsty. That was a really aggressive, risky blink there from ShaDoWn. So, you got to remember, guys, a blink is scary, but counter blinks can be even more scary. Yeah. These Protoss players always have to think one step ahead. I know when I play my Protoss games, I'm just like, all right, I'm going to blink and take out an important unit, and that's the end of the game. And these players know they're like 3 or 4 steps ahead. I got to blink, and then he's going to counter blink to here, which means I have to retreat to here, and then I can prep my blink later over to here if I move this position. So lots of calculus going on. It reminds me of how like really top tier snooker players never focus on the actual ball they have to make it into the pocket. They always focus on like where the cue ball is going to end up after it's shot, and they're setting up that next shot. I feel like ShaDoWn always doing that, sniping that warp prism, able to get away with a pretty good trade, and as you said, sniping that warp prism is just an immediate shutdown of any aggression, because in Protoss versus Protoss, defender's advantage is stronger than I think it's fair to say any other matchup besides maybe Terran with tanks already embedded.
Yeah, for now, I'm actually a little surprised at the styles we're seeing played by both here. We are not seeing disruptors. We're barely really even seeing any robos. There is one robo out for both. Neither have gone into a second robo, which is very common. Wow, another prism getting shut down. Very, very common once you're at 4 bases to add on that second major tech facility, be it more Stargates or another robo. These DTs have blink. This cannon's not long for this world, although now they have blink.
There it is. Nice. The cannon going to go down here and no more detection. The observer slightly out of position here for Hellraiser. He has his DTs going into counter on ShaDoWn's 4th base as well, though. The 11 o'clock base and the natural for ShaDoWn both under siege, and there's a big fight going on. Grant, action all over the map right now.
Yeah, Hellraiser's army is still very scary. There's a lot of Immortals here and a lot of Zealots, and both of those chew through these Stalker armies. Sentries going down across the board here. DTs will finally be cleaned up by more DTs. And we're getting to that stage of the game now where things are going to start exploding all over the map. DT's blinking away there from ShaDoWn, just trying to keep everything alive as long as he can. He is still up in supply, and it is all army supply. Upgrades dead even. And we see a couple more probes being made here by the French Protoss player. But we are continuing really... Oh, that's so cool. So good from both.
God, I love that. The blink from Hellraiser and then the additional DT blink from ShaDoWn. ShaDoWn actually going to get caught here with his Stalkers transitioning. That's a bit of a mistake there from ShaDoWn, sending 2 different groups of Stalkers across the map. But it's actually going to pay out in his favor as he's able to flank these Immortals. There's no more here to save it, Grant. The Immortal's going to go down. Does ShaDoWn have enough firepower to win this fight? I think he absolutely does. Yeah,
that was exactly what ShaDoWn needed. And now it is just Stalkers versus Stalkers and Zealots. Zealot number may be a little high. We should see ShaDoWn start to pepper some of his own in pretty shortly. Immortals are being forced to be remade here from Hellraiser. He doesn't want to be doing that ideally, or if he does, he wants to be moving up 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 Immortals. But ShaDoWn right now with a massive army lead. He's also continuing to make probes. He's expanding further forward. He's really got this game by the scruff of the neck, and he just needs to find a way to close it out right now.
Yeah, close it out is the real problem, though. As we said, the defender's advantage for Protoss is so powerful. That warp-in mechanic just makes it so much easier if you're back at home. And the problem right now for both players, honestly, is that they both lost a lot of warp prisms. 2 down for Hellraiser, 1 more for ShaDoWn. And ShaDoWn is not using his warp prism to reinforce his army at the 4th base here. He's just using it to try and sneak into the main base, maybe distract Hellraiser a little bit. DT Sincel is going to stop this 5th base going up from Hellraiser. ShaDoWn puts himself in a strong position with an aggressive blink into the natural, Grant.
Catching another Immortal here. These units are so important, but he doesn't have an observer with this army, and there's a whole bunch of DTs with their scary scythes that can take down these units very quickly without that observer. We have real posturing for position here in the middle of the map right now. Looks like ShaDoWn is going to catch a lot of this army, and guess what? Zealots can't blink Creighton, so they will get away using that speed zone. But ShaDoWn continuing to have control of this. He's adding on his robotic spade now, and another robo is at his second. Yep, just the second. More cannons, more Nexi here. And ShaDoWn is going to start to transition into something I think Hellraiser is going to have a real problem dealing with.
Yeah, Grant, you may want to double check your microphone really quick. It does sound like there's some tearing or clipping happening. I'm not sure if that's a loose wire or something. It may just be on my side, but it definitely sounds like you're, whatever you're messing with now, that's definitely causing the problem. Not a big deal, but I might just want to take a quick look at it. Anyway, another warp prism goes down here for Hellraiser, and ShaDoWn finds himself just in such a strong position. Economy's roughly even, but I think that Hellraiser's going to get pushed back, and again, Hellraiser's going to have real trouble establishing his 5th base as long as ShaDoWn is able to continue pressuring him.
Yeah, these blinks were beautiful there by ShaDoWn. He's playing some really high-level StarCraft here. He is going to, at risk of a bit of a flank here, and those DTs with Shadow Stride are going to blink in and be a real nuisance. They do so much damage, Creighton. It's just scary. You have lots of observers being produced here now by both of these guys, really putting emphasis on making sure DTs cannot end the game. They are still even, you think, how does a DT end the game? It kills 100 workers. But this stage, +3 DTs can end the game by killing an army. When you have 8, 9 of them and they can blink in on top of an army without observer defending it, it's very scary here. And now we do have ShaDoWn once again pushing into this. Surface area pretty even for both here, but the Immortal will just be doing so much damage. It is now a little bit open down here on the south and will be targeted down. We have DTs from things coming in from the south. This is a complete cluster frick.
It is, but that incredible concave from ShaDoWn gonna end things. ShaDoWn, again, slightly ahead for most of the game, Grant. I think it's fair to say. Finally able to close things out. That last engagement, a bit sloppy not from both players, but a bit interesting. ShaDoWn giving himself a really nice concave, but it was almost entirely stalkered. No Warp Prism, no Immortal. His DTs were somewhere else on the map. They weren't part of that fight. And Hellraiser was able to get on top of both sides here with his defending army at his base, and then, of course, coming in with those Zealots and DTs, which is something that he's been repeating over and over again this game, is like engaging with those DTs on the other side, but not quite enough to make it happen. ShaDoWn able to finally target fire down the Immortal, work on the Observer to get the DTs over, and take those DTs down once his Observer picked up. So decent fight from both sides. A little mistakes here and there, but ShaDoWn able to finally pull out the win.
Yeah, and that was ShaDoWn's map pick. I've just had a little cheeky look here. So now we move on to Hellraiser's map pick. And in mirror matchups, that's not quite as relevant as in non-mirrors. But there's always something to be said for how comfortable you feel on the map in any matchup.
Right.
So maybe Hellraiser has a better plan here for Death Aura. We are just waiting for the confirmation that everyone is ready. And we are now going to start loading in. And ShaDoWn with an incredible game one there. Very, very impressive. And here in Group A, it's important that he gets as many wins as he can. That now puts him up to a 3-2 score. If he can close this out 2-0, that'll be doing great for his DreamHack Winter career standings.
Can I drop a fun game knowledge fun fact on you before we get into the next series, Grant? So at the end of that game, we were seeing how dangerous DTs were. We talked about why they were such a good unit. +3 Stalkers do 16 damage when they have +3 and no. Oh yeah, we got a remake. Overlay bug there for Hellraiser, so we'll hop back into the next game. We'll remake the game. Anyway, +3 Stalkers do 16 damage, 16 damage with every shot. Do you know how much damage +3 DTs do with every swipe?
I'm going to take a guess.
Take a guess.
I'm going to guess 58.
My God, Grant, you're so close, it's terrifying. I bet if you round it up percentage-wise, we could give it to you. 60. Yeah. It's 60 even. And that's one of the reasons we saw Hellraiser trying so hard to work the DTs into the Stalker army, because 2 swipes from a DT, and those Stalkers are gone, Grant. Gone. Solid gone. Like Baloo in the Jungle Book when he starts jamming to King Louie's thing, and he's like, I'm gone! I'm gone! Oh, it's so good.
I love the Jungle Book.
How can you not love the Jungle Book? Not only groundbreaking animation techniques, but also the biggest names in showbiz. It was like, you know how like Cats was supposed to be a big deal? They're like, we got Taylor Swift and we got all these other... That's like what the Jungle Book actually was, though, with like Louis Prima and oh god, I'm gonna blank on all of it. They were supposed to have the Beatles, and then the Beatles dropped out. So they had to get Beatles impersonators, and we're like, please don't sue us. But crazy, absolutely crazy.
1967 that came out. 1967.
Do you know what it won the Emmy for? Best original song. Do you know what it was? Guess what the best song is in the Jungle Book?
Was it the Snake one?
No, it's not Trust in Me. No.
Okay. Trust in. So I don't think it'd be King of Swingers. I think that's the obvious answer.
It is.
Damn.
No, that's the obvious. No, sorry, you're right. It's the obvious answer, but it's not the correct answer.
Oh. So
the correct answer is My Own Home, the one at the very end that the girl sings.
It's not even good.
My own. That one. Yeah. It's not even good.
Fuck just happened?
Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird?
Yeah, King of Swingers is the one.
Oh man.
Or
it grooves. It grooves so hard. Or Bare Necessities, right? You would think that those would be the options. But guys, if you're just joining us for the Jungle Book and Disney Animation Breakdown Happy Hour, there will be some StarCraft happening eventually. But But right now, it's all Disney all the time here on DreamHack Winter 2020. Grant, what's your favorite Disney movie of all time?
Of all time, the original Lion King, most likely.
Original Lion King. Hard to beat, man. Hard to beat.
I watched it like every day at my grandmother's when I was a kid. So like I've got like the entire script memorized. In terms of modern, I think Moana is a freaking masterpiece. I don't care if it makes me out to be a 6-year-old girl. Moana is so good.
Yeah.
What about you? Go on, hit me. That's my eye.
Favorite Disney movie of all time? Yeah. Oh, God. That's tough. I'm a bit of a sucker for Beauty and the Beast because it was the first one that included any computer animation.
Yeah, real good.
And so I like that because it was the first one to ever have. And of course, if you go back and watch it now, you're kind of like, all right, this is real janky. Like it's because it's the ballroom scene where they had their. Where
yeah, I know which one you mean. Yeah.
And like, at the time, everybody's like, "Wow!" And now, of course, going back, you go, "Oh, that's a little rough." But I like Beauty and the Beast. Belle is obviously the best Disney princess, no question. Don't at me.
I don't know. I kind of like Jasmine.
Really,
from
Jasmine?
Aladdin. Yeah, I was like the perfect age for Lion King and Aladdin, I think.
Mm-hmm. Nala is also a great Disney princess. Let's not lie to ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. What about like Mulan though?
Also amazing.
Songs? God damn.
Yeah, and the first Disney princess who don't need no man, where she's just like, no, I'm a badass. I'm great. And I love anyway, you know what, Grant? Let's start a podcast and we'll talk about all this later.
Yes.
Right now, we should probably do what we're getting paid to do, which is talk about StarCraft.
Okay, in the bottom right here of Death Aura, he is the blue Protoss player. Let's find Creighton's camera, representing Team Clash and Ukraine. It's Hellraiser.
And his opponent in the top left-hand side, currently up 1-0, unless I've forgotten the score of the last game already. It is our red Protoss player from France, ShaDoWn. ShaDoWn. ShaDoWn.
ShaDoWn.
I mean, it's always going to be wrong. You just got to sort of lean into it, Grant.
I think specifically us being from different parts of the world, we say it differently. I'll say it like 4 different ways in every series because that's what the English do. We just make it up. We just fake it till we make it. Whereas you're pretty consistent. Anyway, what's happening?
Yeah, I pick one and stick to it usually, which caused some trouble because last time I remember I was on the A stream casting a zombie grub and we had a Geralt game. And there was some significant confusion because it was when Geralt was just getting like really popular.
I didn't know they were the same person.
Yeah, and so it was Geralt, Gerald. Gerald, everything. And I remember Zombie Grub had said it like 3 different ways, and then we introduced the players, and I said it a 4th way, and she was like, "Come on, Creighton, now we gotta juggle another one in here." Ridiculous. By the way, Grant, speaking of the handsome Protoss player Geralt, you know who else is in Group A, also at 1-1 and also plays Protoss?
No, Mana.
It's Geralt.
Oh.
It's actually also Mana, but I was thinking of Geralt.
I thought it was a trick question. Now, this game, as we have been talking crap for at least a solid 7 minutes, Stargate opening here from ShaDoWn. Hellraiser at the other side, not gone for any tech just yet, instead getting a couple of stalkers out nice and early, so we can get a bit more control over the map, move across the map and deal with the adepts. He does have adepts of his own as well, and he's going for that quicker Nexus, not by too much. Everything is pretty standard. We've got different openings, but we'll end up in the same position, barring any massive calamity here.
Do you think Hellraiser's going for a Stargate play this game, Grant?
No.
What now? I don't want to like put you on the spot and make you do StarCraft Jeopardy or anything. But what's leading you to believe that he's not going for Stargate? Talk us through.
It's just a little bit too late, I think. If you're going for a Stargate, you want to get them as efficiently. You want to get them early so they can have maximum efficiency. Things like oracles, they only really work at the beginning of the game when your opponent has maybe skipped a battery or most of their units are adepts on the other side of the map. Unless you're going like Mass Phoenix, and you want to start that early as well. Usually, if you see a Protoss player going for a little bit of late attack, they are going to go Twilight into Robo. But the Stargate here, it's not like you see a Stargate open and you're going, oh, he's going to make carriers, because that's not what PvP really is in the early game. It is typically a Stargate, and you'll get an Oracle, maybe 2. Maybe Phoenixes on a rarer. It's not too common these days. But typically, they're opening Stargate and transitioning into Blink Stalker play and things like that. As we see, ShaDoWn right now throwing down that Twilight Council.
What a pro you are, Grant. What a pro. It's almost like you do this professionally for a living and know what you're talking about. That's impressive stuff. Adept sneak in here for ShaDoWn, which normally I'd be like, oh, it's a big deal. I don't really think it is at this point in the game. Just a little bit late to get too much damage done. He doesn't get a single probe kill, and the Stalkers chase him out. So trading an Adept for nothing is not worth it. This Oracle's been shut down for ShaDoWn as well, which means his follow-up play is going to be a little bit more efficient. Or a little bit less efficient because he doesn't have any base to build off of, any damage to build off of. Wow, this poor Adept getting 3 kills, though. Hellraiser with a slight advantage, but, just barely. As you said, Grant, Blink on the way for both these guys. And Hellraiser, I think, at a slight advantage, though, build order-wise, because he didn't invest in that Stargate first and foremost.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with you there, Creighton. The Stargate can come back to be a benefit later on in the game at the 10-minute plus mark. We see Forge coming down right now for Hellraiser as well. That is slower than his opponent, but with Chrono, it really won't be too much slower. But the main thing for Hellraiser right now is he is going to be comfortable and content to take his third a little bit quicker. Because he was able to find that damage and free workers, you go, oh, there's only free workers. It was still close to 10% of the economy at the time, which we say often. And that's going to allow, he knows they have to be replaced. The 150 minerals and time that has to be, and probably chrono energy that has to be committed into replacing them. So Hellraiser will jump forward and get his third base, even before his Robo has gone down, which is slightly a surprise here. Both of these players we did see last game didn't go into Robo until a bit later. So stylistically, maybe a slight change in the meta with these guys. And I'm enjoying it so far. Fun games.
Yeah, that late Robo is really an interesting call from both guys. As you said, very, very normally you'd want to see one of the more traditional builds for Protoss in PvP is to get Blink Stalkers into Robo, into a quick Robo Bay, and start cranking out those Disruptors to hope that you have a Disruptor advantage over your opponent, so you've got enough Purification Novas to zone out your opponent and also do damage. That's really the dream, is get up to 5, 6, 10 Disruptors and just mow through your opponent, force them back until they have to make a mistake. And as you said, we're seeing both these players getting late Robos. Hellraiser's only just going down now, and ShaDoWn's going down right after that as well. I suspect, Grant, it has something to do with very similar to where Protoss players will put down their forges at about the same time as their opponent. I think it's more of an arms race question than anything else, where they're like, oh, you're not investing in a Robo? Okay, I can't invest in a Robo either. It'll just put me a couple steps behind. And that's really sharp play from both these guys. Unscouted, but both of them are really doing a nice job of reading what their opponent's up to and sort of feeling them out. Yeah,
I also think neither one of these players really wants to play Disruptor v Disruptor. It's very difficult. It's very explosive. It can go wrong at any time for you. It's like all of a sudden you become like a ZVZ player where you make one mistake and all your lings disappear. It's very similar when you play Disruptor versus Disruptor. Your army, can be flanked by Disruptor at any point. You lose everything, game over. So both players choosing to skip it, and if one skips it, it's hard, as you just said, in terms of the arms race, to be the one that does it, because you leave yourself open as you are transitioning.
Yeah, we talk about... Go ahead, sorry.
No. Upgrade's dead, similar. Dark Shrine is going to come down first from Hellraiser, but I really expect ShaDoWn is going to match that within the next minute or so. And everything now moving forward towards a 4-base showdown.
Now, this is a really interesting build that we've seen, and it calls to mind there was a really interesting game in DreamHack Fall with Art and another Protoss player. What?
I think it was Gerald.
I think it was Gerald as well. I think you're correct. Where one of them did go into Stargate play. I think it was Art went into Stargate play. And Geralt refused to go Stargate, refused to upgrade the entire game. I might have the players backwards, but anyway, one of them refused. And sorry, so Geralt went into Stargate play, and Art refused. He stayed on like Blink Stalker Archon charge lot up until 25, 30 minutes. I think we broke in one of the games. And it was really interesting to see that the two different styles for those players. And again, we see it looks like Hellraiser probably going for DTs, possibly into Archons in this Blink Stalker Archon push. And I don't know how I feel about that, Grant. It's a bit of an unorthodox push. I guess there weren't a lot of Archons last game. It was just DTs. But still, with Archons and Blink Stalkers on the map in lieu of the more normal Disruptors, it's going to lead to a game where neither of these players are as confident in what they've done before. Cute little blink there from Hellraiser to set off that stasis board. He's going to go ahead and engage. I don't know about this, Grant.
He has a better surface area for now. He knew it's very difficult for ShaDoWn to get down the ramp without blinking. There's also a big warping in the main here with Zealots. That's forcing a large portion of the army to come back. Hellraiser making some great moves right now. Now, the Oracle has come back to try and defend this after dropping a Revelation to keep tracks of the army here, but Hellraiser making inroads to put himself in a fantastic position. Behind this, he's continuing to probe up. He's now up 15 probes, Creighton, and that was a great move. He even killed the 4th, He's up to 5 bases now on the way, getting his +3 quicker than that of his opponent. And Hellraiser just flipped that switch, man.
Grant, I want to say one word, and I need you to agree with me when I say it. Discipline.
Yes.
Hellraiser gets into the main base, right? Has his zealots running loose in his main base of ShaDoWn, and rather than trying to fight stalkers in a narrow choke point, Hellraiser has the technical perspicacity to grab those units and force them to attack probes all day long, trading a short-term win with a bad army engagement into a longer-term win with getting 12 probes down. That's such a smart play from Hellraiser, and one that you see players even at the pro level missing sometimes. And now, as you said, we see Hellraiser on one more base than his opponent, on practically 20 more probes or 15 more probes than his opponent, and just in a commanding position now, able to get that +3 out a little bit earlier. Everything coming up Hellraiser after that great push into the main.
Yeah, Hellraiser doesn't want to get caught like perambulating in the middle of the map right now. He is certainly taking a worse fight here. Oh, he's just blinked forward. He has a huge run by coming down. With DTs, that's going to do a lot. But there's actually some of ShaDoWn's army not fighting here. He just can't find the surface area in this fight. And the upgrades, despite being the exact same, that has just gone so massively in favor here of Hellraiser. He now takes a 60 supply lead. He's finally going to fall back here, but he's killed a bunch of workers. He's got a strong, solid army. I mean, this is falling apart here from ShaDoWn.
Yeah, no, this army from Hellraiser is dummy thick, Grant. Just ridiculous. 9 probes going down in the third base to those DT run bys. And actually, if you noticed, ShaDoWn only saved by the grace of a revelation there. Did not have an observer handy to pick off those DTs, which means he ate a lot of damage in his Oracle, now with less energy than had before. And with only 1 Oracle on the map, it's not as effective. Very odd fight from Hellraiser here, taking his eye off the 8-ball for just a moment, and he's going to be forced to blink away defensively and try and goad ShaDoWn into attacking, which he does. ShaDoWn then overextends a little bit. Both these players a little bit sloppy on the follow-up fight, but honestly, that's in favor of Hellraiser, Grant. Even if both players trade evenly right now, that means the player who's ahead gets more ahead percentage-wise in both army supply and income. That's the way you got to think about these late-game fights, is not, okay, he's still 20 supply ahead. It's, oh, he's moved from 40% ahead in supply to 80% ahead in supply. That's a huge swing.
Did you notice that I used the word perambulating?
I was really impressed. I wasn't going to call you out on it because I wanted people to think.
Impressed. I watched the movie last night and I heard that word and I Googled it, and then I was like, I'm using that tomorrow in the cast. So there you go. Insider information here. Hellraiser with a massive lead.
Grant, I was just going to let it happen so people think you talk like that all the time, and they'd be like, damn, that Grant's really smart, just like casually dropping the big words.
You're the big word guy.
Huge zealot run by here into the third. Now, there is an observer out here for Hellraiser, actually, so he can fight these DTs of ShaDoWn head on. He's going to go again for the 1-2 punch, punching into the fourth base here. The army supply is getting closer and closer, though, as he loses a lot of zealots here at the base. Finally, the zealot warpins from ShaDoWn should clean this up. Only 3 probes this time. A less efficient trade for Hellraiser, but again, Grant, army supply is even, but Hellraiser way ahead in income. And once he maxes out again, he's going to start building up a huge bank. I still think we're going to see Hellraiser in a really strong position this game.
Yeah, resources lost continue to tell the story here, really. Nearly at the 2,000 difference, which is like it's about a 15% more efficient trade in this game so far for Hellraiser. But the main thing is that his tech is exploding now. He's getting more upgrades. He's adding lots more gateways. He's going to have an upgrade advantage in about 30 seconds. That's really going to benefit the Stalkers and the Zealots here, because that armor is going to just add a huge amount. Is he actually... Who's taking that? Okay. I thought for just a moment Hellraiser was taking that base.
No, I think ShaDoWn was going to try and take that base, massively overestimating his position here. I mean, there's no way that happens. Again, Hellraiser can trade inefficiently all day long here. As long as it's a relatively good fight for him, he's going to be in good shape. The warper to the pylon. Oh, the pylon just doesn't get taken down in time, but behind this, Grant, DTs in the natural, Zealot run by in the third. Hellraiser really just using this main army at the 12 o'clock base as nothing more than a cute distraction. This warp prism, by the way, that has been caught up at the top corner of the map for the last, 6, 7, 8 minutes. I'm pretty sure ShaDoWn forgot about it, but Hellraiser knew it was there, warped in some Zealots, and we see the income, just crazy. Grant, 99, 100. There are going to be as many probes on the map for Hellraiser as there are Dalmatians in objectively one of the worst Disney movies of all time.
Oh, awful, right? I was never keen, and also I was really scared of her. Now we do have a big fight coming in here. Zealots having great surface area. They will be targeted down here by ShaDoWn, but I just don't know if it's going to be enough. That armor upgrade has now come into play and will be making things easier for Hellraiser. I will say ShaDoWn's done a good job of hanging in there like a good old sport, you know, but he is in a lot of trouble. 101 workers doesn't have quite the same ring to it, but it does finally look like Hellraiser is going to be able to take some more dominating fights as these upgrades kick in.
I feel like doing a Weird Al style parody right now of like, ShaDoWn the Protoss, ShaDoWn the Protoss. If he doesn't beat you, then he'll be your boss.
I don't know.
Nobody can. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. So, Grant, remember earlier when we were joking about ShaDoWn or Hellraiser trying to take this 12 o'clock base just to be cheeky?
He's actually
Guess what Hellraiser's doing?
He did it for me.
Yeah.
This is
just
cool,
for you, Grant.
Having batteries there is super nice. Once his base finishes, he now gets a very close to the fight. I mean, defender's advantage kind of goes away. Okay, that's a lot of probe transfer, mate. He now has the option to overcharge these batteries. He's got quicker warp-ins as well. He doesn't need to have a prism here. I mean, both of these players are still on Stalker. Mass Stalker, the blink forward from Hellraiser. But Army Supply's dead even right now. Oh, DT. Yeah,
that's a
There's no observer.
Very aggressive blink forward. There's no observer here at the third base. Yeah, these DTs have been doing so much work. ShaDoWn has been so busy pumping units pumping stalkers out. He hasn't had the chance to get too many more observers out. He has one on the map, but Hellraiser has 6. So this one poor observer doing so much work for ShaDoWn, carrying so much water. But as you said, this forward base for Hellraiser is just going to be in really great shape. And wow, look at that Nexus. Is the Nexus animation bugged for you at the 12 o'clock? That's weird. That's really weird. Now it's gone.
Yeah, it fixed itself. Revelation coming down to try and catch some of the DCs that are not here. But the Immortal now offering a lot of damage. And just adding that one extra unit has allowed Hellraiser to take a very efficient fight now. He was at a 30 supply lead for like 8 or 9 fights in a row. But finally, the Immortal comes in and he breaks through. We're getting to map 3, Creighton Elston.
Yeah, we are. And that is what we talked about earlier, Grant. These two players so evenly matched, and not just that they're evenly matched, but both of them are pretty dang good at PvP, Grant. I think you said PvP was ShaDoWn's best matchup. Is that correct?
Did I say that?
I think PvP is one of ShaDoWn's better matchups. He's a fantastic player. Yeah. But Hellraiser, no stranger to this PvP. Look, guys, if you're going to play as a European player on the Grandmaster ladder, you're going to run into a crap ton of really, really good Protoss players. And it's not just that they're all like good, long game, macro Protoss players, so you have to be solid. The EU ladder is not shy about mixing in some cannon rushes, some cheeses, some proxy. I mean, Goblin and Max Packs both exist, right? So these players are really well versed in all the different aspects of PvP and can play exactly what they need to play. This game 3 ought to be a good one, Grant, and I'm struggling to decide who's going to have the advantage here in game 3. Both these guys looking real solid.
Yeah, I'd say game 1 was pretty well, I mean, it's hard to say one-sided, but it was certainly decisive by ShaDoWn. And game 2, I would say the same in terms of how things have worked out. So It's hard to predict who will take this one. Here on Romanticide, we are now moving in to our final map of the series. Just checking the players are ready. We'd love to hear in chat, guys, who you think's going to take the victory. We don't typically do predictions here. It's not really our thing. But it's nice to see what you guys think. So let us know as we load in now to the final map who is going to take it.
Grant's practicing for his YouTuber career. Let us know in the comments below what you think's going to happen in match number 3. Don't forget to hit that button, smash that like button. And ring that bell so you. Oh God, I hate that.
Oh my God, you're so good at it. Wait, I'm finding your YouTube channel.
No, it's not. It's not on my YouTube. I hate it so much. That's my peeve with all content creators, that we all have to like appeal to this lowest common denominator of freaking annoying guys who never matured past the age of 15, who think that the way to get followers is to be loud and annoying and just.
And wait, that's not how it works. Fuck.
It's so frustrating. You know, for those of us who are trying to build a very real brand and a very real conversation around what we're doing, it is. I'm not going to go into my whole rant here, but man, if everybody that I hear say smash that subscribe button, I'm like, no, never. Get out of here. You're done. All right, great. Old man peeves aside, Grant. We have a great game 3 coming up. Our first player on Romanticide LE in the bottom right-hand side, representing Clash Gaming. And from Ukraine, it is Hellraiser.
And his opponent in the top left side of Romanticide, representing himself, because he is teamless, putting on a great showing so far, the Red Protoss from France. It's ShaDoWn. ShaDoWn.
Nailed it. Nailed it. Grant, I just want to call out one amazing person in the chat there. A_Goomba has that Nexus bug that we saw. Not a Nexus bug. It's because ShaDoWn had the building template or the blueprint over the top of the Nexus that was already down for Hellraiser.
Consider that, right?
It's funny because we'd seen them both, right? We'd seen the building Nexus and the blueprint over the building Nexus, and I didn't even think about it until he got his probe over there. That's so cool, Goomba. Excellent catch there.
Goomba, you can cast instead of me now, but I'm still taking the money, just so you know. Now,
buy yourself the one sausage roll and call it a day.
Yep. Too real, Creighton.
Oh, man. Well, you know. Anyway, openings for these players look pretty standard, Grant, and I think that gives us a chance to talk about just how key this Game 3 is. We said at the beginning of the series, but I think it bears repeating. Again, guys, if you're just joining us here, I know our number fluctuates up and down a little bit, and a lot of people pop in and pop back out for these games. So apologies if you've heard us talk about this before, but these players in Group A both tied at 1 win and 1 loss. Their map score is, I believe, identical. It is.
Yes, it is.
No, that's not true. No, it is now. Yes. Whatever. I don't know how up to date the Wikipedia is, and sometimes they update different parts at once. Anyway, the most important thing, though, their match score at 1-1, and in a very competitive group, but still a very winnable group like Group A. A win here would be huge. Grant, you always talk about this all the time.
I do.
Is that like you can? Well, yeah, you always go out of your way to mention it. I really love it that in these group stages, the players go in with an expectation, right? Look, I'm playing against Cyril. I'm probably going to lose that match. That's okay, right? I'll put up a good fight. If I can pull off the upset, great. But I'm going to plan for a loss there, which means I need to win like these matches that are very competitive, where I'm very close to my opponent, where I know it's one of those any given Sunday times when I could definitely win this fight with this game if I play really well. And for both ShaDoWn and Hellraiser, this has got to be one of the matches that they're putting in the category of a big question mark. Like I could probably win this, and if I try, it's not a guaranteed win, not a guaranteed loss. And these matches, like we said, in a competitive, winnable match or winnable group like Group A, have got to come through. So this is a huge game for both these guys. ShaDoWn trying to sneak things through, though. Look at this, Grant. I love it.
I think I might know what this could end up being here, Creighton, because
it's going to be a proxy hatchery with a queen coming out. Nailed it.
Not so sure about that one, as Twilight Council is on its way, but there is a scout heading north. It doesn't look like it will catch this. It's gonna just fly on by and not see it. Twilight Council finishes. Will we see the proxy Dark Shrine? Yes, we will. Okay, so ShaDoWn, when push comes to shove, he's gonna go all in, and I love it.
Oh man,
because this is a very risky play, but he is playing against an opening that does not favor Hellraiser here. He has opened Twilight Council. Look, he started Blink, he's dropped a Chrono into it. I can promise you that Blink is not his #1 priority here. He will probably let it continue. I don't see any point in cancelling it after throwing in a Chrono into it. But Dark Shrine is what is happening here. There's a Forge going down, but the Forge has to finish, the cannons have to finish, and usually you don't immediately get a cannon. The Forge is probably just the start upgrade. Did you see it?
No. So here's the thing, not to interrupt you, but I think he knows it's coming. He got that Scouting Phoenix in and saw that the Blink and the Forge were down. A little bit unusual to get Blink and Forge at the same time. If you're going for like a more standard Blink play, usually you wait a little bit longer on the Forge. So I think Hellraiser may have a suspicion as to what's going on. As I say that, though, there are no... The Photon Cannon is coming down. There it is. Finally. Okay. Photon Cannon going down at the front. And I think he's going to be just fine. That cannon will finish in time. Good. And man, these players go full Sherlock Holmes, Grant, where they've got to do the proper science of inductive reasoning, which is actually, fun fact, what Sherlock did, not deductive reasoning. He actually did inductive reasoning despite the mistakes in the text. But yeah, some good inductive reasoning here from Hellraiser and saying, wait a minute, I don't have all the information, but I can sort of guess what's going to happen. And he might even see that shimmer with that Phoenix coming across. He's going to be more than prepared.
Yeah, this is an absolutely perfect defense so far. One DT will go down, the second will fall as well. Great defense from Hellraiser. I was very concerned for him. But you did Sherlock Holmes the crap out of that there, Creighton, and figure out what's going on.
Oh, Hellraiser did. Hellraiser Sherlock Holmes the crap out of that, man.
You did too. Talking of Sherlock Holmes, I'm gonna bring this back. Are you ready for this? The Great Mouse Detective. What's that for a Disney movie?
Never seen it.
It's so good. You need to watch it. It's about Sherlock and he's a little mouse.
I'm pretty sure you've ranted about how good this is on a DreamHack stream. I'm pretty sure it was DreamHack Fall, where you went out of your way to mention the Great Mouse Detective. And I said, I've never seen it. And you were like, go watch it. And I was like, sure, I'll go watch it, Grant. And then I lied to you, and I didn't watch it.
Do you know what? I forgive you.
Thanks, Grant.
Because I'm
I
a
appreciate it, buddy.
kind guy. Right. Okay.
You really are.
So the DTs didn't work out. There wasn't a massive committal. It was just 2 DTs. The Dark Shrine is a building that you are going to get anyway as a Protoss player playing another Protoss player. They're so great for run-bys and things like that. Having it proxied is annoying because there is the possibility it gets found in the mid-game and is dealt with before you can get Shadow Stride and things like that. And you'll have to remake it. But no harm, no foul here from ShaDoWn. He's in an okay spot. He's still up in workers. His upgrades are up as well. He's getting immortals. He's to be honest, everything's going pretty well for him.
Yeah, it's really fortunate that ShaDoWn let that blink finish, right? There was some concern when he started it. I thought he might have been like faking the blink and just going like 100% all in on the Dark Templar, which, you know, very rarely happens. It's more of a it's probably not a strategy you're going to see employed at a big major event like DreamHack, but if you're just on the ladder, sometimes you can do that, blink cancel, get the extra DT out. Again, I didn't expect to see it happening, but he's going to be very happy now that he let that blink finish and is going to be competitive in the late game. And as you said, the risk of running that Dark Shrine proxied is that it gets found eventually, and now no more DTs for ShaDoWn. But Grant, he's not losing any sleep over this. DTs are not going to be an important part of his army until we go to another mid to late game scenario, which might not happen. ShaDoWn pumping a lot into his army right now, +2 about to finish. He may have himself a sneaky little timing. Grant, is Hellraiser's charge lot upgrade going to be a big tipping point when these armies finally engage if ShaDoWn doesn't have it yet?
Yeah, Charge Zealots are incredible. Making the change from Mass Stalker to Charge Zealots can be a bit scary at times. It's another transition that generally you don't want to transition until you're completely secure. We do see the DTs coming down here from Hellraiser. ShaDoWn has bit the bullet, and they're both taking those 4th bases in the same but mirrored positions here. So Charge Zealots I do like them being added in because neither of these players have been playing Archons particularly, which are the best way to deal with Zealots. So if you can get some Zealots to wrap around specifically Sentries and Mortals, they do offer a lot of damage. They force Micro out of whichever Protoss player does not have Charge Zealots, and they're good for this reason. Properly like being in a prison, they make themselves a home, and then they go and land somewhere and they slice up a mineral line. There are a couple of cannons and batteries around, but a few Zealots with +2 right now, but soon to be +3 upgrades will decimate a worker line.
Yeah, they'll do worse than decimate, Grant. They'll just straight up destroy sometimes. Average worker line is what, 16, 19, 22 probes. Yeah, okay. So to decimate, you only have to get 2.2 of them. So really, I know ShaDoWn is... I know Hellraiser's looking for more damage than that, and look at what he's going to do. This is so smart from Hellraiser. We saw this a lot in the previous game against ShaDoWn, right? Fake with the big army up top, draw the army of ShaDoWn out, and this is, again, just a fake. He's going to blink away. I don't think he wants to engage here, but he's got to sell it to buy himself a little bit of time for this Warp Prism to get to the main and try and do economic damage on the backside of this. Great force fields. Hellraiser retreats, and now, guess what, buddy? Zealots? Never mind. Hellraiser's going to be down here. Good Warp Ins from ShaDoWn. Great defense.
He went up into the main and turned around. I'm not sure why. I don't think there was anything in the main, was there? Can you take a quick look? Is there a cannon or anything
nothing.
in the main?
Yeah, no, nothing. I mean, there's one cannon, but Zealots can take care of that.
Yeah, he would have found damage in the main for sure, and he didn't bite. Now we are seeing ShaDoWn has remade his Dark Shrine, of course, and is getting Shadow Stride himself for harassment, which is nice. We did say it would come back into play at about the 10-minute mark. God damn it, we're good. +3 is on the way for both of these players. Very similar here. There's nothing really in it. I mean, the supply is almost dead even. Worker counts even. Upgrades pretty even. In terms of unit compositions here, 1 immortal. Both of them have well over 30. Stalkers. More Stalkers here for ShaDoWn, but Hellraiser has those 7 extra Zealots. So, I mean, it is very similar right now.
The only big difference right now, as you said, the only major difference is that Hellraiser's on 1 additional base as compared to ShaDoWn. Interestingly, though, Hellraiser has not chosen to mine out these minerals in between the 3rd base and what can be the 4th or 5th base location here on Romanticide LE. I love this little addition. It's so important as a defender to mine these out. I mean, in TVT especially, or any versus Terran especially, but any good matchup, it makes it so difficult to reinforce here. And a little surprising not to see Hellraiser opening up that map for himself a little bit more. Just as ShaDoWn's 5th base goes down, that's going to be a cancel immediately, though. Great engagement from Hellraiser. ShaDoWn, as you can see, has an easier time rotating. And again, surprised that Hellraiser has not taken that out yet. Let's see if Hellraiser goes for another 1-2 punch as that Warp Prism makes its way back into the main. Let's see if he actually mans up. Well, that's a bit rude, but if he actually bites the bullet and goes for the Zealot drop in the main this time.
Yeah, it will be less efficient now, of course. There are less workers because it has now mined out, but this time he will commit to the drop. Now, there is a battery and super battery capabilities here. No warping coming in offensively, just like defensive one. He's going to throw away these. He might be able to save these, Alex. I'd save them. They've done a good job. Don't. Wow.
Those zealots are like reaching for the last helicopter out of Vietnam. They're like, no! Left behind in the main base, those poor guys. The Warp Prism, though, still alive from Hellraiser. That's important. Oh my god, ShaDoWn's just going to go for it. Pushing into the 5th base in the bottom side while Hellraiser pushes it to 12 o'clock. Grant, is it base trade o'clock?
We're certainly base trade adjacent, if nothing else right now. I'm wondering if they're just going to take one, maybe two, and then recall. It's very difficult to know how far is too far to go. You can see ShaDoWn's already got reinforcements here, but it isn't enough. You're going to see a blink forward here, one battery. No matter how many batteries and cannons you have, there's enough stalkers to one-shot anything on Earth. Both players are starting to get very close to fully committal right now, though. In terms of supplies, you can see they're both very supply blocked. There'll be no more units made for a considerable amount of time until there's been a fight. And it looks like Hellraiser has a slightly bigger army. Upgrades even for now, but armor upgrade is very close to being done here.
Yeah, that armor upgrade is going to be so important. As you pointed out, both players heavily supply blocked right now, and even losing 1,000 probes on either side is going to keep them blocked for a while. That actually might play out badly for Hellraiser, who just invested into double robo behind this, and he's not going to be able to crank anything out of those robos that he's put money into. The good news, though, he's got that +1 armor about to finish. His army supply is slightly ahead here, and he still does have a Nexus to recall to. If Hellraiser pops up into the main base here and picks off this last Nexus, that could really be a tactical problem for ShaDoWn, who has enough money to build another Nexus and is, in fact, dropping another Nexus. No, what is he dropping? What did he just build there? Oh, Disruptor instead. Oh, interesting. And Hellraiser, oh my god, Hellraiser's just going to walk back across the map. Grant, this can't be the right call.
He's recalling. There's a lot of cannons and batteries here. There's Disruptors on the high ground too, waiting for those Purification Novas. Not going to be able to get anything off here. But now the Blinks come forward. The Immortal left in the open. The Blink down to come for the flank here. The Immortal will fall. So many units going down. Look at the supply, my friends. This one is OGRE. It's Ogre. GG. Hellraiser takes a 2-1.